Hello. Okay. Sometimes when this happens, when I go to record, and it's been a little while, you may have heard me say this before. This is not your first time here. If it is, welcome. But there has been just so many layers, synchronicities, messages, dreams, you name it. So I just took a deep breath, and I wasn't going, like I said, I wasn't really planning on recording right now. I'm walking to the beach, and I've been seeing a lot of repeating 7s and 8s as I just drove by and said that a license plate 177, and right before that I saw 771, and then there was like 777, 777, 888, blah blah blah. Also repeating 9s could be significant, and also 4s. I saw 444. So what really set it off by the way, there may be a bit of wind when I picked up my phone to record, because I don't get Wi-Fi where I am, so I don't use my phone much unless I'm recording when I'm not on Wi-Fi. And I picked up my phone and it was 222, and I started recording, which I've been seeing a lot the last few days. Anyway, so I was walking, just some things that I saw that could be relevant for people. LA, AC/DC, the band, umbrellas, okay, and then the kicker, no pun intended, shoes, flip-flops, shoes, sneakers. They have been coming through synchronistically for days in different ways. And this morning when I woke up, I had already written down on my transmission notes to talk about the symbology of shoes, sneakers. And then actually a few days ago, I just saw TV as well. There could be some messages and synchronicities coming through TV, especially right now for some of you. Even if you don't directly watch TV. Also Arizona, AZ. Maybe someone else who watches TV tells you a story, about something they saw on TV. You could be dreaming about it, which I just remembered last night. Part of my dream, well, I'll get into that, was connected. Anyway, so my mom, almost never remembers her dreams. She was in my dream along with my stepdad. Well, my dreams were infinite last night, but small part of the dream, my stepdad crossed over, so whenever I dream of him, I like to tell my mom. Anyway, so I told her, and then she said, oh my God, I had a dream about sneakers. And like I said, my mom, almost never. She can, remember, 5 dreams she's had in, her whole life. And so she starts talking, and I was just giggling, because I was like, oh my God, I was just about to start recording about sneakers, shoes, etc. And then yesterday, the symbology of slippers, the ruby red slippers, which were actually originally silver, and then they changed to red, or ruby red. Chocolate could also be significant. And all this symbology around Dorothy's slippers. The Wizard of Oz has so many occult themes, as some of you may already be into. And then just now, as I'm walking to the beach, I see a flip-flop on the side of the road, and I was like, okay, message received. I also just walked by a van that sells fruit not far from the beach, and the smell that is coming from this van, I didn't bring any Euro with me, but oh my God, it just smells amazing. Interesting, a red car just drove by, and I was talking about the ruby red slippers. And on my walk, I just realized, oh my gosh, now a silver car. I was just about to say how they were originally silver. And I look over, and there's a silver car. And I don't see a lot of those around here, at least that I notice. but like back to back like that, red and then silver, and the order too. I was about to say I noticed a lot of like shiny silvery items on the ground while I was walking before I started recording. Oh, and I also wanted to get into like the process. Sometimes I feel like some of these transmissions and messages are really also deeply focused on like the process of how the messages and transmissions come about. So some of you may be feeling loud truck. Some of you may be feeling and or like deepening your own intuitive channels and like setting intentions to like the process and how your own like unique communication system multidimensionally shows up. So because I've noticed a lot of my transmissions are based on that. Like it's so much about not just whatever quote the message is, but like how they're formulated and the process. And interestingly, in my mom's dream, she had on one black sneaker and one white sneaker, which instantly made me think of like layered things like duality, 1, 2, black and white thinking. Of course, like the yin yang sort of energy, masculine, feminine principles. A car just drove by, NN on the license plate. So there's been a lot coming through about like the North Node, dharmic timelines, and like Edenic templates and memories. So those of us who feel connected to the my throat just started to go out there, which tells me a lot of us that are coming back online and or deepening the template with these Edenic memories. You know, some people call it like heaven on earth, etc. And then there's some people, obviously, who believe like the idea of heaven only exists once you die, right? It's like you need to be perfect so that you achieve heaven. So I think a lot of us, again, who are rewriting that narrative and feel more deeply connected to the idea that, like Dorothy wearing these ruby red slippers, everything was within the entire time. And shoes, sneakers can also represent like direction in life. So some of you may feel like I just heard posted up, posted up, or sort of like hangman energy, like maybe taking a step back for a moment. Maybe you feel like you're kind of at a crossroads. Some of you may not even know what the decisions are. It's like, you know, you're making some sort of like internal frequency decision, but it may not have quite manifested yet externally as to like, you know, like for example, deciding between two jobs or deciding between two things. It may be more like a way of being and the way you make decisions. So like, this has been coming up a lot for me, actually. I just had a long chat with a friend yesterday, very close friend who I really respect, and she was basically like giving me her perspective on what she would do if she were me, essentially, which I didn't necessarily ask, but we were talking about it because I was just saying how there's some like external pressure from other people in my life who think I should do things a certain way. And I was saying that like, you know, I've gotten to this space where I am not doing things. I'm sorry, there was a bug that just flew on my forehead and I was trying to like let it go freely without killing it, and I don't know how successful I was, but sending that love. Bugs, by the way, heavy insect critters. I had 2 bugs in my bed last night and today, which I'll get into some of the symbolism of that later, because each one seemed like it had its own message. And I'm not sure if all of the, what I like to call quantum seeding, all of this is quantum seeding for this particular transmission, and or it's going to be unfolding over the next couple, because like I said, it's been like days of so many layers coming to the forefront. Long story short, basically, I appreciated the advice. And it was funny because as my friend was giving me her advice, which was like very practical, great advice, a video, literally like almost a second after I read her message, popped up on my, I think, Instagram, about this girl who basically like came from, you know, kind of like the rags to riches story, and like didn't give herself a plan B. She was like, I'm gonna just focus on what it is that I want, and that's it. So anyway, I'm sharing this because there could be a dandelion fluff, a wishy. I always call them wishies. Just came right at my forehead as I said that, like literally like hit me in the head. Right? So it's like there's something about like the idea of wish fulfillment like hitting you in the face when you continue to internally orient your direction, like the shoes, those ruby red shoes. 11:33 on the timer. I paused. Someone just asked me if I spoke Russian, Italian, and Montenegrin or Serbian. It's like the Balkan language around here. So any of those languages could be significant. Speaking of, as I'm talking about that, I'm walking up to a signpost that has like all these different languages on it. Not languages, but places. Copenhagen, I've actually talked about this before. Zagreb, Berlin, Kiev, New York, Rome, Tokyo. Oh, and something that came through was like, in this decision to like integrate 911, I've been seeing that number and hearing sirens as well. In that decision to integrate into your, you know, what we can call like highest divine timeline or path of ease, path of least resistance, following your heart. My friend was like, yeah, that's all great, but like you can't just throw out logic completely. Like you still need practicality and logic. And when I thought about it before I responded to her, because like her plan was very practical, and I was like, you're right. And I haven't. Like there have been so many, I'm just not taking the quote practical path that everyone else thinks I should take, but like along my experiences to, let's say, content creation, I have had to learn a lot of practical skills that I knew nothing about. Maybe I'm not taking the practical path that everyone thinks is best in terms of like how I handle my finances and career and things like that, but like I'm absolutely incorporating practical skills that I had zero knowledge about, and making certain sacrifices that, like creature comforts and security blanket and leaping into the unknown, you know? So anyway, I'm sharing this again because I felt this coming through so strongly. Initials BN, MV. These are just some LB, some things that I'm seeing. The part of my dream that came in regarding when I mentioned TV, I went through like, let's say 4 to 6 dream sequences last night, and when I woke up today, of course, generally speaking, what I like to call astral physics, it's not so like linear generally, but I'll say the way my mind perceived the last leg of the dream. I was basically like, it seemed like I was watching TV, but I was not in a physical body at this point of the astral experience. I was like just pure consciousness, I didn't even feel like I had like my light body form. I was just observing. And what's interesting is, and when I say I didn't have my light body form, that if you're familiar with like astral sequences, or like sometimes it manifests as like I'm still in this form that I know myself as, but without the density. And then there's other times where I can see and perceive, but I don't like feel like I'm in a body. Okay, so imagine like a drone. So the way I was like, I started off like TV level, and there was actually like a screen, now that I'm remembering, as if I was like watching TV. And then I just started to rise up and like take an aerial view. And then instead of watching TV, which on the TV, and my clock just turned to 2020, so the year 2020 could be significant. 2020 vision, right? There's something about, I've been talking a lot about the phrase microscopic vision and like intercrystalline technologies. And so some of you may be actually like working on the inner planes, or with the inner planes, with your perception, the way you perceive. Anyway, so on this TV, I feel like I was in some sort of like sports bar when this first started. And then it was like kind of like a news report, which is funny because I don't watch the news, but it was a news report, but it didn't, and there was a lot of red and blue. I remember like, for some reason, like primary color, like red, and like, I don't know the shade of blue, but it was just like a very like ordinary blue. Almost like, I feel like there's a news, I'm like picturing a specific news channel. I want to say it's like CBS or CNBC. I don't even know if they still exist. Hold on. And this reporting was like showing different humans. I feel like I don't know why I'm having such a weird time being able to explain this. It's just a news report, but yeah, it was like certain people's stories. And I feel like the one guy that I saw, he seemed almost like, I don't know, I'm like the movie Moana, like one of the characters in Moana, like Pacific Islander, Polynesian, and I wish I remember what the story is about, but I don't. Yeah, I'm like being shown a surfboard right now, and as the stories kept rolling, excuse me, I was then like a drone, like just aerial view. And instead of watching TV, I was like literally floating above each of the places that was being mentioned. So it took me to a beach in Thailand, a beach in the Florida Keys. And again, like in between, there were like people's stories that were being shown. Of course, we can perceive this as like a version of being shown the Akashic records. And when I said that, I almost just like lost my breath. That was such a strange feeling. Excuse me. I want to come back down for a moment because I was just reminded after I left the beach today, in Montenegro, or the sea, it was very hot, and I was starting to get like a very faint, I don't even want to call it a headache. It wasn't like a full-blown headache, but just like a dull ache in my head, but not quite a headache yet. And it's just been kind of like off and on. I've been feeling that. And so I was a little bit hesitant to pick up the recording because I was just kind of like taking my time, and I had to wash my hair, and I was just, in my own zone. And when I pushed record, my headache, or dull ache completely like went away, and now I'm kind of slightly feeling it again. So I feel like this is like a collective energy as well, and I know there's been a lot going on with like the Schumann resonance and the geomagnetic storms. Okay, now I want to go to the physical body, any somatic. Being through many of these cycles, I've come to establish some patterns and themes. Actually, it's something that I've mentioned before that's been coming through very strongly lately, clear cartography, clear mapping. And this is like part of a framework, I guess you could say, or like one of the clairs, clairvoyance, clear seeing, of like establishing patterns and connecting dots through clear mapping. Actually, I'm writing something about it. It's almost finished, and I'm starting to host workshops. My first one is this week. I can pin the comment below, or pin the link in the comment below if anyone's interested. All the information will be in the link. Okay. So So I noticed that my scalp was like starting to, like I had dryness and like flakes on my scalp. On my scalp. Why I said it like that? On my scalp. I already mentioned in like another transmission breakouts on like the mind's eye. I was talking about 2020 and vision. They're finally starting to clear up, but I was saying like I haven't had those in so long. And my stomach was feeling a little bit bloated, actually. It wasn't, and then it came back yesterday and today. So yeah, there's like these like waves coming in. And so before I recorded, I asked for confirmation, like intuitively and through what I call the inner planes. I was like, okay, if this is the collective, show me something, And then yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Do you hear there was horns outside? I think it was yesterday or the day before. Right after, so when I was feeling all this peeling, I was like, ooh, there's like such heavy snake peeling back the layers symbology going on here. So I was shown a snake and this idea again of peeling. Some of you could be like closing out some sort of loop or cycle from the year of the snake. I just saw an orb come in when I said that. Also, I'm recording this in 2026, excuse me. I cannot, on my phone right now, it says 7 and then 7-1. And when I started this recording, I saw 771 and 177. These numbers are coming through so strongly. I know a lot of people associate those number sequences with the idea of union, and I've been talking a lot about that in like Hierogamic templates. Okay, but there's also, an 8-year cycle. I feel like that's being closed out right now. 2018 to 2026, or whenever you're finding this, 8 years prior. And I say that because, I'll just keep going and then let it kind of weave in because, yeah. Okay. So after I'm feeling the snake energy and, it was like my scalp, my arm, like I was just getting really flaky and I could like energetically, like literally see like layers. I'm also being shown scaffolding. Now, this ties in really deeply with this idea of like, union, right? So again, however that looks like to you, hierogamos, inner union, and however that would show up externally for you. So when I asked for this confirmation about the shedding, layering, I went out on my balcony, and the guy staying next to me, he's very funny. He's from the UK. I love his accent. And I didn't even like sit down yet, and he was like, oh, he basically was like telling me, so where we are, it's like pretty chill, you know, like we're not like right in the city, the main city. So like the most excitement that happens is like what he's about to tell us or what I'm about to tell you, he told me. So there's like turtles on this property and a lot of cats. So he was like, oh, the turtle was on its back and the cats were like torturing this turtle. So he's like, oh, I went and saved the turtle and I put it back on its, you know, flipped it over. He's like, and I thought that was the end of the story. And then I went to go back to my room and there was this huge snake, like so big, like a dark, thick, big snake. And he was like, oh, I've done enough today. Someone else can deal with the snake. But then he saw the snake slithering back. There's like this little area that's very dark where there's like some cleaning stuff that's kept and other miscellaneous things. And he said the snake was headed toward there. He watched it like go in and the cats were like running after the snake. So that was like right after I asked for confirmation about, you know, and like I've been here almost 2 months, and the only other time I saw a snake actually, there was a transmission when I was walking to the beach and I had a dream about a copper. It would be about, I recorded it like 2 months ago, so I don't remember what the name of the transmission was, but I was walking to the beach and there was right after I had this dream of a copper snake, and when I was almost at the sea, I think it was my first time walking to the sea from where I'm staying, there was a copper snake in the middle of the road cut in half, and I was like, oh my god. So there may be a message in there for some of you. Now it's 2031 on the clock. Interesting. So I just had like ending of an 8-year cycle, so 2031 I believe would be like in 5 years from now. So there could be something starting that's anchoring from now until the next 5 years. And the significance to the turtle being on its back and cats, for me, there's like a deep personal synchronicity with cats and turtles, especially connected to this like idea of divine union. I don't know if I'm going to share the personal part, maybe on Patreon. But there could be things coming forth for you in that way. And of course, the snake shedding, right? Like what happens when we shed. And it felt really significant that the snake was like slithering its way into a dark room, you know, like going back into the darkness, into the womb, into the feminine to like rebirth itself, sort of thing. I know that's like maybe a little bit of a leap, but energetically that's what I'm getting. Okay. Now, today, before I went to the sea, was it before or after? I think it was before. It was. So I've had this necklace that I've been wearing. I'm not sure how long. Actually, maybe since like 2021. Something like that. 2022, maybe 2022. Around that time frame. And it's just a very thin gold chain with a tiny pearl. And I don't know, I just loved, when I saw that necklace, I just had to get it. And I don't buy jewelry very often. As you see, I wear it for so long, basically either until it breaks or falls off or something happens to it. And there was a lot of synchronicity around this pearl necklace. I don't know if you heard that, my computer just made a ding. Like personal synchronicities around this pearl necklace. Anyway, so I'm laying there this morning and I was having all of these, I was interpreting the dreams that I've been having and flushing everything out. I've been writing a lot because I've been dreaming. I always dream so detailed and vividly, almost always. But I've been really guided to like sit with themes, especially before I record them. Anyway, so I had this like very big release around my father, like the father lineage that I'm connected to. And I was like, oh, this is definitely collective. So I feel like there was just a very big father lineage release. It could also be like just connected to the masculine energy in your family, but I'm really getting strongly like the father side. It's been both. Like I record for both sides, and I've had so many mother synchronicity releases as well. I didn't mean to say synchronicity, but this was very focused on the father lineage. Okay, I just heard in my head someone say, well, what if I'm adopted? There's still contracts in place in different ways. I mean, yeah, that's a whole... That's interesting. Yeah, I would say there's still contracts, and when you are working with transmutation, even if you're part of a family that maybe you don't share their blood, it seems like there's still some sort of mirroring in dynamics that you'd be transmuting that show up in that family, and or maybe through your dreams or through certain habits, experiences, loops that you feel like you encounter. So yeah, I could go more into that if someone would like, but okay, so back to this significance of the pearl necklace. So obviously pearls could be significant. Mother of pearl. I talk a lot about the pearlescent and gold streams of crystalline liquid light, and I don't generally get it, how do I say this? I've pretty much been down to like a backpack for a couple of years now of basically most things that I own. I think I have like one box at my mom's house with like papers at her apartment. So my point of saying that is like I said, I don't like have a lot of stuff right now that I keep around. So with this necklace, it's like one of the things that I just like genuinely really love. So I have it on my neck, and I went to fix, like the pearl usually goes at the back, and I bring it back around to the front. And as I'm like finishing up this flush out that I did for my father's lineage, which again has been coming through in different layers for years, but there was like, I could just feel this like big loop, just this transmutation graduation process. Like it was so strong. I feel it, excuse me. And when I went to grab my necklace, now a little bit of backstory, my dad crossed over years ago, and when he did, there was a synchronicity around a pearl, and specifically like this pearl necklace. So I knew that there was a connection, like a personal synchronicity there to that. Anyway, right as I was finished, I went to, like I always do, fix the pearl necklace, and I'm like, where is the pearl? Like it was gone. And there was like a tiny, tiny, tiny little sliver left. Like I could barely, it was so small. I like ripped it off because I was like, what is that? And it like, the little sliver just went onto my finger. And then the pearl was just gone. It must have fallen off because the necklace is still here. I don't know how that happened. And I just noticed it, but it was so synchronistic that I noticed it right when I like finished this release. And I was like, oh, this is definitely collective. So I wanted to come on and share that. And I just saw specifically a blue feather. That could be something for someone. I'm also seeing like what do they call it? Like an ink quill pen? Ink quill? I don't know why I heard that very specifically, ink quill. I'm being shown William Shakespeare and a gorge, or the name George. A gorge, like in nature. And yeah, the name George also is coming through. I also just heard the word gorgeous. Maybe someone, says that, like, oh, hey, gorgeous. I'm also getting a little bit, like, giddy all of a sudden. I also found a white feather today where I sat down at the sea, like on the rocks. And when I was in the water, I was able to... So some of you may be seeing light language in different ways. And today it was so cool. The way that the sun was hitting the water, it was like, speaking of like an ink quill pen, I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. There were like streams of light hitting the water. And then I was seeing like in real time, the light codes. It almost looked like someone was writing them. Like they were like being written and bouncing off of the reflection of the water, coming in like golds and yellows, a little bit of like different shades of blue. But it was like so fast, as if someone again was like asymmetric scripts or something also coming through. But like then when all of the code was like finished, it was like rising up from the water, and then like I could see it was like geometric coding in like angles of planes above the water. Now that I think about it, the sea was very crowded today, and I did see someone look over at me, and I probably looked like I was on drugs because I was just staring at the sun and the water, but I was not. I was very sober. But yeah, I was just watching all this happen, which happens all the time when I go to the sea, but there was something about today that felt like it was like more expansive. Yeah, so some of you may be really like getting into coding or like blueprints of things. Actually, the Claire Cartography workshop is fully called Claire Cartography, the art of integrating blueprints. So yeah, it's like I was like being shown. I need to like find a video or start learning how to make videos on AI, because the stuff that I see, like I really want to learn how to share that, because it was like so electric, and it was like there was a glow to it, and it was so beautiful. Almost like a neon light, but neon doesn't really do it justice because it wasn't quite neon. You know, when you like watch a neon light flash, like a neon sign, it was kind of like that, but plasma and etheric, plasmic. Ooh. I was just shown what I like to call the Isla frequency, an angelic aspect. You may be seeing like 1111, repeating 11s, repeating 11s, repeating 1s, but someone can be like wanting to do something different with their eyebrows. That's very specific. Or hair, eyebrows. Yeah, you could be in this like glow up season, glow up phase. I'm being shown like hibiscus tea, raspberry leaf tea, like anything that makes you feel like you're glowing from the inside out. Like there's something specific about herbs and teas, but also like watermelon hibiscus. Oh, I've been craving watermelon like so. I cannot wait to have watermelon and strawberries. Okay. Two, one. Along with the shoes synchronicity, I just remembered the song New Shoes has been playing in my head for days. Hey, I put the new shoes on, everything. I forget, but I can hear it in my head. These shoes just don't suit me. Hey, yeah, so there could be messages in that song. And then, speaking of cycles closing, when I picked my spot and I found the white feather, after I put my little blanket down, after I went into the sea, I got back on the blanket and I looked up, and there was this butterfly that flew like right over my head. And it almost like looked like it was in slow motion too. It was like so majestic and dramatic. Like, look at me fly, I'm so beautiful. And then I see butterflies a lot, so this doesn't always happen, but instantly I heard the song Butterfly from Mariah Carey start playing in my head. And I kind of let it go, but then it kept playing. So when I got back to Wi-Fi, I listened to the song because it's been a while. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, there could be this like season of that it feels like most of you have already gone through this, but some of you may be coming into this of like letting go. And, you know, in the song Butterfly, she's talking about like, you've now become a butterfly, spread your wings, fly abandonedly into the sun, fly butterfly. If it's meant to be, I know you'll come back to me, something like that. I don't know why, but when I heard the song, I was like in tears, like it just listening to that song for some reason, and now it's coming back. My eyes are like really teary and I feel like I'm about to cry. So yeah, you could have been going through a lot of that, like, and or stepping into just like a lot of trusting, releasing. I think I was talking about this in the beginning of this transmission of like really learning how to trust yourself and follow your own path, you know. What do they call it? Like forging your own path. I just heard it in my head, change maker. I don't really say that, but I did hear that. I have so many chills all of a sudden. So it feels like whenever you're finding this next, I was talking about like the next 5-year cycle, feels like it's everything that you've let go. It's like you're going to be finding out what is meant for you. You know, what's meant for you, they say, will always come back. And if it's not, then, you know, you let it go with love. So it's like there's a lot of new. And then again, whatever that seems to be returning will be returning transformed, like that snake that went into the dark. And like my pearl that so synchronistically just decided to fall off my neck. You know, it's like, okay, I'll let that go. Oh, so interesting. I just got a notification on my phone from Meredithia Crystal and Mineral Oracle. Some of you may listen to her. I haven't listened to her in a really long time, actually. So, I felt like something or someone just pinched me right, maybe 3 inches above the ankle, on the side of the calf. It was like very intense. That's a very specific spot. It's on my left side, the feminine side. You know what? I did listen to one of her videos recently. I didn't finish it. I just listened to like a few minutes, but it had been probably months since I listened to her at all. So I'm surprised that I got a notification. But anyway, okay, this is so synchronistic too. So I was talking about, sometimes I have these like conversations in my head that feel like they come out of nowhere. Excuse me. And I kept getting this like collective conversation of, let's say, a masculine energy. We can call it a divine masculine if you want. Who was like being set up. Whether it's in love, this seemed to be more around love, but like it could be like a new job, like just being set up in some way. Like people trying to set this person up, you know, maybe with like a new place to live. It could be anything, but. And I was like seeing this whole scenario play out where then the masculine's like, all right. And like, if it was like a girl or a person, you know, a guy, whoever, someone like in romance, it's like the people that were setting this person up are like, oh, they're so hot, or they're so good looking, or it's like a lot of like surface things, like, oh, they're so this, like they don't have a lot of opinions, like things that maybe in the past this person would have like thought they wanted, you know. And if it's a job, same thing, like, oh, it pays this much and does this, but it's like, oh, maybe these things aren't exciting me as much anymore. Or if it's, yeah, you get the gist here. And it was like I was being shown that this masculine was like playing out that scenario. Like, okay, I'll go look at this house, I'll go on this date, I'll interview for this job, whatever it is. And the whole time that they were just like felt distanced and not, it's not what they want. Maybe it's what they thought they wanted, and the whole time they realize it was never what they wanted, and they keep thinking back to like whatever this feminine energy represents, like you, the lifestyle that you live, however it plays out. And so this all feels relevant because then there was like a message that popped up, or from someone, I don't know his name actually. He has a YouTube channel, and like I had this like a few hours ago, and then this message popped up, and it was like a very similar concept, and I was like, oh, maybe this is collective, because I was seeing it so deeply. Oh, my right ear just started pressure shifting. And then after this whole scenario was playing out, and just now, Meredithia's caption is, or title, Divine Masculine DM's mom just gave DM their blessing for this love, literally, energetically. So weird, because like yesterday or the day before, I was like remembering, I think it was this morning, I was remembering dreams. I never met the person who I get these messages from and for the collective, but I've had dreams about both of his parents, and it's just crazy because I was literally thinking about this, and I was getting messages from him, but I was like, I don't know, let me just sit with this for a minute. So I can't believe that came through, because that was coming up so heavily in the energy as well. And of course, I was talking about the masculine, or like the father lineage. Now the mother lineage is coming through. It's interesting because it feels like the feminine just closed out an ancestral loop for the father lineage, and the masculine just closed out an ancestral loop for the mother lineage. I know that's like very specific, but that's what I'm getting. And it does not have to be necessarily gender specific. Is not what I mean. Okay. So I'm going to share one more dream that came through connected to this, and then I'll probably close this out and then start another transmission. Okay, so while this is happening, there was a dream. Oh my God, there were so many layers to this dream, so I just want to get the theme instead of going through all the details. So the feminine was in a city with a friend and walked into a Starbucks. And generally speaking, like when I walked into the Starbucks, of course I'm representing the collective feminine. I don't really go to Starbucks. Actually, I like little independent cafes. I always have. But I have certain friends that like Starbucks, whatever. So if I'm with someone, I used to be like, no, I'm not going. But I've gotten a little bit more flexible. But I still really don't go. But in this case, in the dream, the Starbucks was like being inside a grandfather clock in this dream. There was like this ancient grandfather feel. It was like so beautiful. And I was like, how is this Starbucks? Anyway, I left the shop and came back because I thought that I got like some sort of iced latte. I haven't had like a fancy coffee in a while. So because I've been dreaming about one. Anyway, so I thought I left my drink. And when I went back inside, I couldn't find it, but the whole cafe was cleared out for some reason. And there was just the barista. And he was like, oh my God, like, there's something about you. Like, I was so anxious. Now I just feel so calm. Like, thank you for coming in. And he handed me an entire bag of to-go coffees. So, like, I lost my one coffee. But then, I'm just realizing that's so similar to the energy I was just pulling through, right? Like, all the things that you've let go of. Sometimes with love. Sometimes maybe it's been, like, a tower moment that you didn't necessarily, or maybe you didn't think you were ready. But it had to let go anyway. Yeah, and then I was just handed this like huge bag of to-go amazing coffees. So again, there was like so much going on in the stream. Basically, it was showing me there were still certain parts of like in that part of the dream after I got the coffees of like expectations that maybe like you do when they sing for someone and they keep expecting things. So you could be closing out that loop of like being able to say no or like not feeling obligated to do things. That feels like a mother lineage thing as well for some reason. But please take it how it fits for you. And then the feminine runs into the masculine at this barista's house. They go back to the apartment and they're like, what is going on here? Like, how did I run into you here? Then all of a sudden, yeah, God, I'm trying to like get the theme here, but like I said, because there's so much detail, I might go into more detail on Patreon. I'll see if it comes through. But anyway, then the masculine and feminine wind up in a bedroom together, in bed, and they're laying there, and all of a sudden, there's like this, like, eye to eye kind of transfer, like nothing's really being said. And then it's like the lightheartedness comes out, and the masculine says all of a sudden, like, I really want pizza. And when I want pizza, that usually means I want to go on a date or something like that. So yeah, there could be something about that coming in, and it's just so funny because then right after that, the masculine says, actually, but I'm not eating pizza right now. I'm only eating chicken nuggets because chicken nuggets are giving me like the best butt, and I just lost a lot of weight and like got up to show the feminine that they lost weight. So someone could be on like a weight loss thing, exercising, changing their body. I was talking about glow up, but like chicken nuggets. So I looked up a lot of the symbolism for like chicken nuggets and pizza and blah, blah, blah. So I could go into that, but for some reason I'm not guided to. Feel free to like look that up and share it. But there's something so significant for some reason about the, all the symbolism, the bed, the lightheartedness. I'm like feeling that head pressure come back so strongly. That's why I feel like the last like 5 minutes I've just been taking forever to get to the point. So my apologies. And I'm just going to trust that this landed to whoever it needed to, because I feel like there's so much that I'm not saying, but I feel like that's also part of the energy. Like there's so much that hasn't been said, and I can like literally feel the pressure like building up in my head. It's such a crazy intense feeling. Yeah, so I'm going to end this here because like I said, I feel like this next phase is, there's just like these really large cycle that just feels like, I know there's so many people saying some of these things right now, and it can feel a little bit daunting when things don't happen immediately. So if you're finding this, I already feel the head starting to ease up a little bit. This is really about like, it's so funny because the other day when I don't know, I just took a moment and I have this rose oil that I love. There's like barely any left, so I've been using it just a little bit here and there. And I put it on and I like was just like brushing my hair, and like I don't know, I just felt so like what's that word, like romanticizing. And then I actually received a text message from someone I haven't spoken to in a bit, and there's just like something about like more the, everyone keeps saying this, so I don't want to like repeat things, but there's something really about like, just like putting yourself first. And like some people may be drawn to like the Ho'oponopono prayer. Like there's something about just like continuing wherever you're at in this, in this cycle, I guess. Really going and like, there's something about like you've gotten this far and like trusting yourself and or starting to there. Yeah, it just feels really good. Like, I don't know, even if you're having like moments of confusion, like before I was talking about being at a crossroads, Okay, I feel like I'm just kind of talking in circles at this point, so. Yeah, I'll probably continue this on Patreon. and or I might do like a part 2. I'm not sure yet. But either way, whatever will be in the description box below. Okay. Oh God, if you're still here, I feel like I might not even post this because at the end, my head was just building with pressure and I don't even know like what was just happening. And yeah, okay, thank you.